a few months ago from Jakarta. And while I was here, I never really felt like I was getting Bali. You know, I still felt like a Jakarta guy living in Bali. And then I went back to the States for a couple of months, I passed through Jakarta, and now that I'm here, it's like, all right, I'm in Bali, I'm living in Bali. This is my new home. And it takes some adjusting to. You know, for instance, people here love to use Bali as an adjective. You know, every hashtag has to be, you know, Bali life, Bali food, Bali romance. You know, in Jakarta, we just, you know, we're just more plain. We just call it life and romance and prostitution. Hi, I'm the comedian formerly known as Fritz, but now you can call me Bali Fritz. It's so much easier living in Bali, particularly the language. In Jakarta, you have to speak Bahasa. You just don't have a choice, particularly when you do things like getting a haircut. You know, I went to a barber yesterday, and the barber spoke English. I still didn't get the haircut I wanted, but he spoke English. Really? Well, that's good, because I start slow. Randomly, one of the biggest differences about being in Bali versus Jakarta are the Facebook groups. Now, Facebook groups in Jakarta are great. You know, I was craving a bagel. I could post in a Facebook group, hey, does anyone have a recommendation where I could, you know, get a good bagel? And people respond with recommendations on where I can get a bagel. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been on the Chengdu Facebook group. Woo, the mistake I made. All I wanted, I was just craving a bagel. The first reply, gluten? People still eat gluten? I can't believe that you're asking this. Is this a joke? Is this a troll post? Moderator, this post should be flagged for the unhealthy, un-Bali lifestyle. The next post accused me of importing my American culture and taking away from the Balinese culture. I just want a bagel. And this white woman is writing in English on Facebook telling me that I'm destroying the Balinese culture. And there was dozens of replies. And the only one that was moderately helpful was from an Indonesian who wrote, I got some land in Lombok, good price. PM me for details. Now in Jakarta, all of these online battles happen on Twitter. People don't know this, but Jakarta is the Twitter capital of the world. There's more tweets from Jakarta than any other city. And particularly in Jakarta, a lot of these Twitter battles are between Jakarta versus Java. You know, the classic city versus country. And it's illuminating to see the arguments. And so this one story had 18 million tweets. Everybody in Indonesia had an opinion on it. And it was about a pilot who had an affair with an air hostess while his wife was pregnant at home. Right? And the Javanese were attacking the pregnant woman. That she wasn't a good enough wife, that the husband had to go philander, and they were blaming her. I mean, blaming the pregnant woman, that's pretty bold. And in Jakarta, they were blaming the air hostess. And she shouldn't get involved with, you know, she should have known the guy was married. Now, I was shocked because nobody was blaming the pilot. There was absolutely no vitriol aimed at him. I mean, it's just amazing what a guy can get away with in Indonesia. You know, people were blaming the guy, the women. Somebody blamed the airline, saying that the airline shouldn't have put the people together in the same hotel. But the one thing that did unify the Javanese and the Jakartans was blaming Jokowi. Because, you know, that's the new national pastime, just blame everything on Jokowi. He's the president of Indonesia, just in case I know Bali people get a little confused. The only thing that really unites the country is just blaming everything else on Malaysia. It's true, you know, Batak is, you know, Batik is from Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
Bahasa Indonesia. That's not from Bahasa Malayu, right? There was one story that blamed the guy. And at least in Jakarta, they were blaming the guy. There was a teacher in a village who waited until his student turned 18 to marry her. And in the village, they were celebrating it like the greatest love story ever. They thought it was so romantic, and the guy was such a gentleman, and he waited until she was 18. And people in Jakarta, you know, it was like the best story, better than Romeo and Juliet. And people in Jakarta were like, what the fuck? The guy's a pedophile. He's grooming this girl for sex. Now, this isn't Romeo and Juliet. This is Juliet and the 50-year-old Dutch guy down in Sonor. Right. So I wanted to make it straight, and I applied to teach at that school. You know, too many applications. I mean, she was a good-looking 14-year-old, don't get me wrong. I would have thought she was 16 the way she was built. I just lost my place. Think about that 16-year-old I want to teach in the village in Java. Wait, I know it is sick. It's the way. Yeah. But it was a true story. That actually had happened. When I was not about me applying, but the actual teacher married the girl. I was scared before I moved to Jakarta. I spent 1 year backpacking beautiful Indonesia, jalan-jalan to Indonesia. And when you're outside of Jakarta, everybody tells you how bad Jakarta is. You know, the flooding and the traffic and the bad women. And I'm like, yeah, you know, flooding and traffic. And, well, can you tell me a little bit more about these bad women? And so many people in Indonesia get their impression of Jakarta from Sinetron. Now, do you guys ever watch Sinetron? Indonesian soap operas? Right, you don't even speak Bahasa. And the Sinetron almost always has the same story arc. It's a nice girl from the village who moves to Jakarta so she can save some money, send it back to the family. And then as soon as she gets to Jakarta, she's robbed at the bus station. She's not even here 5 minutes, she's already robbed. And then the recruiter who promised her the job, well, now she has to have sex with him to get the job. And her boss, well, she wants to get her paycheck, she's gotta sleep with the boss. And then the parking guy, well, you know, if she wants to get her bike back, she's gotta sleep with him. And the poor girl, she arrives in Jakarta, and the first 10 minutes of the episode, she's given 3 blowjobs. But those stories always end with a choice. You know, she can stay in Jakarta and marry the rich, successful businessman, or she can go back to the village and marry the Gojek driver that she dated when she was in 4th grade. And invariably, she chooses the Gojek driver. And you know, it seems like a lot like Bali. I mean, it seems like there's a commonality that, you know, a lot of women move here from Java, you know, to have some fun, but also to, you know, make some money, send some money home. And then they, you know, they date a bunch of douchebags, and they're like, fuck, I'm going back to my family. And now that I'm here, it's tough moving back to Bali. It's scary moving to Bali, because Bali is all about change. You know, this is where people come. It's an easy life, but everything in Bali is about being your best self and the growth mindset. And so it opens you up to all sorts of new things, and, you know, like crypto traders, and being friends with people you've never been friends with before, like, you know, vegetarians, and yoga teachers, and Russians. But it's great to be here, and I'm great to be here, and thank you very much for tonight. Terima kasih banyak.